State and local taxes and spending. Oh, I just did it, didn't I? All right, state governments prepare two budgets or estimates of future revenue and expenses. Your operating budget pays day-to-day expenses, such as salaries and this is computers, but more like office supplies, like your paper, your pens, your pencils. The capital budget pays for major capital or investment spending. New bridges and buildings are examples of capital spending, capital spending. So even like in the school district, we get X amount of money from the state, right? And I think it's like 82% of that money that we get from the state goes to salaries. It goes to employees. The rest goes for supplies and stuff. But if we want to build a school or get new desks or more technology, that comes from a different fund, like the $250 million bond package we just passed, right? So we have two totally, none of the bond money, that $250 million, not a penny of that can go to a salary. It's against the law. Okay? So it has to go strictly to fund buildings or equipment or transportation, not the drivers, but the buses themselves. I think then they put seatbelts on all. I think they put seatbelts on all the buses. That was part of the last bond package. Okay, so yeah, states do it differently than the federal government. State does it with two different budgets. Most states have laws requiring a balanced budget, which means your revenue is equal to spending, but that only applies to the operating budget, because your capital budget usually is a long-term bond thing. Okay, it's a long-term investment. So, I might have. Oh, it did. Here it goes. Maybe. Totally disappeared.
Try blowing into the cartridge.
This is all being recorded. Oh, there it is. I'm back. While tax policies and spending differ among states, most spend the largest amounts on education, public safety, highways, public welfare. Public safety is not just police, but crime labs, correction systems, prisons. States also build and maintain highways and roads, often with federal assistance. Do you know why the drinking age is 21 across the country?
Because of traffic accidents.
No, like it used to be states could decide their own drinking age, and the federal government, I think it was probably in the 80s, sometime in the 80s, said if you want any federal highway money, you need to change your drinking age to 21.
Yeah, because of all the accidents that were happening.
I don't know if it was significantly more between 18 and 21, but they just thought it was that was a good reason. So states all changed their drinking age to 21, except for one. One held on to 18 for a long time. Do you know what state that was? Louisiana. You ever been on the roads in Louisiana?
Oh yeah, everybody's carrying a beer.
Well, they're bad. The roads are bad. They finally said, okay, we'll raise our wage. We'll raise our age to 21 so that we can get the highway funds because our roads are deteriorating quickly. State taxes also support health and welfare programs, maintain parks and rec. States get revenue several different ways. Most states have a sales tax. Do we have a sales tax? Yes, but we don't tax everything. We don't tax certain foods that they consider necessary. States may also have an excise tax. That's, remember, a sin tax, a tax on things that aren't good for you. State income tax, we don't have that, but we have a state a tax on property. Our property taxes are pretty high, but we don't have an income tax, or our sales tax is moderate. But the state gets most of their money from property tax. Most states also collect a corporate income tax and license fees. Local governments, towns, cities, townships also collect taxes. These taxes support public schools. So our property taxes mainly go to education. Also fire protection, libraries, airports, blah, blah, blah. For next photo, though. An official called a tax assessor determines the value of a property. So the value of your property is kind of important because you're taxed on how much your property is worth. So if I buy a house for $400,000 and my tax rate's 2%, I'm going to pay $8,000 in taxes. Now, if I get a notice from the tax assessor that says my house is now worth $500,000, I'm going to have to pay $10,000 in taxes. Okay? So a lot of people will argue or fight their assessments, saying, no, my house isn't worth as much as you said, to keep your tax bill lower. The main source of local revenue is property tax. If you rent, do you pay property tax?
Yes, where you pay
Yeah. If you're paying enough so that the landlord's going to be able to pay the property taxes. So generally speaking, even though you don't file it, you're paying for it by living there. That's it. That's all we got. Can't believe we only have one more unit. You guys only have 10 more lectures.